Hello and welcome. We are broadcasting from the Shri Ram College of Commerce in New Delhi. It was here this afternoon in this auditorium that Narendra Modi, the Chief Minister of Gujarat, spoke for the first time to young India. He spoke of the Gujarat growth story, the success model he's adopted in the state. But make no mistake, his aim and intention was to reach out to young India, not just in New Delhi, not just at the Shri Ram College of Commerce, but all across the country. He wanted to attract the young voter. Has he succeeded in his pitch? Young India has heard from Narendra Modi. They've heard from Rahul Gandhi over the last couple of weeks. And the question we're asking on center stage this evening, who can steer India better? Rahul Gandhi or Narendra Modi? We're here at the Shri Ram College of Commerce. We've got lots of young students with us. They've got questions, they've got suggestions, they've got their own take on what they heard the Gujarat Chief Minister say. And joining us for this debate, Mani Shankar here from the Congress Party, Meenakshi Lekhi from the BJP. Can we have a round of applause, please, for our guests? We've structured this debate in three parts. We want to look at what Modi has said. We want to look at what Rahul Gandhi has said. We want to look at who seems to be the leader for India's future. But before we get into this debate, I want to play out some excerpts, the key takeaways of Narendra Modi's address to students at the Shri Ram College of Commerce. Take a look at this.
हम पिछले 6 दशक से ज्यादा समय से देख रहे हैं कि हम उन कामों को करने में विफल हुए हैं और उसका नतीजा ये हुआ है कि आज देश के अंदर एक निराशा का माहौल है। देश निराशा की गर्त में डूब चुका है। हर किसी को लगता है यार छोड़ो, क्या होना है, सब चोर है, सब बेकार है। पता नहीं यार ईश्वर की क्या इच्छा थी हमको इस देश में पैदा किया। नहीं, मैं तो यार पढ़ाई पूरी करके भागना चाहता हूं, जाना चाहता हूं, कुछ कैरियर के लिए सोच रहा है। यह आवाज सब दूर सुनाई दे रही है। मित्रों, लेकिन मेरी सोच अलग है। मेरे गुजरात के मेरा एक चौथा टर्म है जब मुख्यमंत्री के नाते मैं कार्य कर रहा हूं और मैं अनुभव के आधार पर कह रहा हूं कि यही कानून, यही कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, यही रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन, यही मुलाजिम, यही फाइलें, यही दफ्तरें, यही लोग, इसके बावजूद भी हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं। और मैं गुजरात के उदाहरण के आधार पर कह सकता हूं। मित्रों, यहां आप लोग बैठे हैं, एक ही चीज को देखने का अलग अलग नजरिया होता है। मान लीजिए मैं आपको दिखाऊं तो आप में से जो आशावादी होंगे वो कहेंगे आधा ग्लास भरा हुआ है, जो निराशावादी हैं वो कहेंगे आधा ग्लास खाली है। मित्रों, मैं ये दो रास्तों से एक अलग रास्ते का इंसान हूं। मेरी तीसरी सोच है और मेरी सोच ये है, ये ग्लास भरा हुआ है, आधा पानी से, आधा हवा से। मैं होप के संबंध में, आशा के संबंध में इतना विश्वस्त हूं, इतना आश्वस्त हूं कि हम स्थितियों को पलट सकते हैं। इन दिनों गुजरात की बड़ी चर्चा होती है, लेकिन गुजरात ने अपनी विकास की यात्रा के मॉडल में एक बात का ध्यान रखा है। हम सिंगल पिलर पर अपना टेंट खड़ा करना नहीं चाहते हैं और इसलिए हमने हमारे पूरे डेवलपमेंट मॉडल को 3 आधार पर डेवलप किया है। 1/3 एग्रीकल्चर, 1/3 इंडस्ट्री and 1/3 service sector.
Who does young India consider an icon? In whose hands do young voters think India's future is more secure. We've got Manishankar Iyer, Meenakshi Lekhi. I want to throw this open directly to the young audience that we have. They've heard Narendra Modi. They've also heard previously what Rahul Gandhi had to say. Let's take some of your questions and let's begin the debate. The gentleman in the corner will ask the first question.
Hey, hi, my name is Nitin Khetpal from Career Vitals. My question is to Mr. Iyer. For the PM position, we need somebody who is a visionary like Dhirubhai Ambani, innovator like Steve Jobs, orator like President Obama. Don't you think Mr. Narendra Modi already has an edge over Rahul in all the departments?
Well, I take my heroes from India, not from abroad. I take my heroes from Jawaharlal Nehru. I take my heroines from Indira Gandhi. I take my young leaders from Rajiv Gandhi. I have seen Sonia Gandhi coming up from behind. I've also seen Atal Bihari Vajpayee and shown how he performed. So I think in the first instance, we should be looking at our own. Consider the experience of Jawaharlal Nehru when he became Prime Minister. His only administrative experience was about 6 months as head of the Allahabad municipality. When Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India, somebody described her as a Gungi Gudiya, and 1.5 years later, they were calling her Durga Mata. When Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister, absolutely no one knew that he had an agenda, and yet, especially in that first year, it was a stunning performance. When Sonia Gandhi became the Prime Minister, how she was mocked for being of Italian birth, and where has she ended? She's ended with providing the UPA, and specifically the Congress, with 2 successive terms. So before you jump to conclusions that because Mr. Modi has some experience, there are a dozen Congress chief ministers who have more experience than him. Sheila Dikshit here in Delhi, Bhupinder Hooda in Haryana. What about Tarun Gogoi in Assam? What about Lal Hola, who from 1973 has been running the Congress in one of the most difficult states that India had and was responsible personally for ensuring that Mizoram was brought back to the path of peace and democracy. So I do not believe that on the basis of 10 years, which have included a very shameful blood-soaked period, that we can say that the country is safer in the hands of a man who has vision like which is the American you mentioned. I don't think these are the people I care for. If we can have the vision of Jawaharlal Nehru, who brought democracy to this country, who ensured that despite his dominant position, this country would be handed over to institutions of democracy, who had his own son-in-law charge him in parliament with a huge scandal, and he immediately ordered a court of inquiry, which resulted in his own finance minister losing his job and several of his prominent civil servants doing the same. I think if we can have the courage that we saw in Indira Gandhi, if we see the vision that we saw in Rajiv, that speech that he made within a few months of coming to office in the US Congress. So there are many, many examples, and I do not think that there is any prima facie reason to imagine that in the highly unlikely case of the BJP accepting him as the leader and the NDA winning the election, that he would come to the fore. And as far as I know, nobody has made an announcement as to who our candidate will be in the event that the UPA wins the 3rd term. So we are in the realm of speculation here. Nevertheless, it doesn't seem to me that the issue is closed.
Okay, I want that gentleman over there. He's ready with the second question. Please go ahead.
My question is addressed to Meenakshi ma'am. Ma'am, before Hitler became the Hitler that we all know today, he was a brilliant administrator, and like the Birlas, the Ambanis, the Tatas of Germany, said he was amazing. But then, of course, we know, how he became and what he did to the Jews. Now, today, the Tatas, the Ambanis, the Birlas are all saying that, Narendra Modi is brilliant. But isn't there a chance that he could, not only become a dictator, but also probably cause, neglect the Muslim community?
32% of Muslims in Gujarat have voted for him. And that is the biggest example. And I think propaganda cannot be a replacement for the facts. And the facts, as Mr. Iyer was trying to put, nobody remembers it better than I would or you would, that Kashmir problem happened because of Jawaharlal Nehru. and 90,000 soldiers were sent back to Pakistan without getting the Shimla Accord or anything else done properly and correctly was Indira Gandhi. And when you talk about blood-soaked, I think history has to remember 1984 riots and several such riots, and 1969 riots, which happened in the times of Indira Gandhi being the Prime Minister. And similarly, Assam riots in the history when Congress is led by Sonia Gandhi, and when you see all these figures and facts, you will remember that Gujarat riots, actually 1,169 people have died. I'm not saying it is a low figure or even one Indian should have died. That's a separate story. But compare it, and this figure contains 30% of Hindu families, or 30% of Hindu people who have been killed in a state which has only 9% minority community. Who was more aggressive? And when right facts are brought to the notice of people, I think people will start seeing what it is. And Hitler cannot be compared with Narendra Modi because it is the Muslims of Gujarat who have voted him. When he has lost votes at the hands of Hindus, he has gained that by the hands of Muslims. And people in this country need to know what the facts of the riots are. And I think it is the right propaganda which has taken over the facts and the truth. The truth is, riots happened, both communities suffered, both exaggerated notions came in, and 58 car sevaks who were killed was the point in time when news cameras were chasing, and that was the first time that such a thing has happened. 6,000 plus 6,500 crores was spent on rehabilitation, unlike Assam where 300 crores has not even been spent. 1,071 lakh square kilometer of shade was provided, unlike the open camps which we have seen in Assam and several other riots. 84 victims till date have not seen what justice is all about. So justice cannot be replaced by an agenda, and I think you all are young people. Please go to the facts and then season your arguments based on facts.
It's an argument the BJP draws often, Mr. Iyer, that there have been more riots during Congress regimes from 1984 and predating that. Narendra Modi, they believe, is unduly vilified because of his charisma, because of his magnetism, because of his popularity. The BJP believes that Narendra Modi is unfairly victimized by the Congress, which has to answer for the riots, the numerous riots that happened under the Congress regime itself.
Well, obviously the Congress has to answer for riots that take place during its regime. But we've had a much, much longer tenure of office, and a very large proportion of that has been completely unmarked by any riots. That's number one. Secondly, you said on a program that I was with you a few weeks ago that according to your survey, 77% of the Muslims of Gujarat did not vote for Mr. Modi. And you also said that a substantial majority of the SC and the ST did not vote for Mr. Modi. So clearly, those who are on the margins of society did not vote for him. That doesn't mean that he didn't win a third term democratically. But while this third term is being played up in a major way, I'm not sure that there's anything unique about it. There's nothing surprising about it. What is perhaps surprising is that a BJP chief minister with this kind of a record should succeed in winning 3 times. As for what happened with regard to the Sikhs, I'm married to a Sikh, she's sitting here. I was as much a victim of the atmosphere that prevailed in 1984 November as the Sikh community as such. But you tell me, the leaders of that revolt against the Indian state, Sant Longowal, Mr. S.S. Barnala, who's still with us, Balwant Singh, Sardar Balwant Singh, why did they enter into the Longowal-Rajiv Accord with him within a few months if they thought that he was communally minded against them? And isn't it true that when after the first 2 days, when the senior most of his ministers, the Home Minister Narasimha Rao, had completely failed to handle the situation, this young man got into the car himself, went to the worst affected areas, and ever since he went there, from the 3rd of November onwards, there was no trouble. And through the 5 years, 6 years that he was Prime Minister or in a very senior position, there was endless killing going on, principally of Hindus in Punjab. And yet he saw to it that there was absolutely no retaliation.
Okay.
Here in Delhi, in May 1985, There were 11 transistor bomb blasts all over Delhi, and I happened to be sitting with him as he rang each Delhi MP, all of whom were congressmen, and said, one incident takes place and I'm going to hold you personally responsible. That is leadership, not sitting around saying action, reaction. And I do not think the record of what happened then or subsequently gives me confidence, may give her confidence, but it does not give me confidence in the secularism of Mr. Modi. And as I believe that secularism is the bonding adhesive of our nationhood, and this man is so divisive that even his own party is divided over to whether to have him or not, and the NDA is highly doubtful as to whether they want such a Hindutva figure to be at the head of the NDA. I am almost certain he'll never become the head of an NDA government. So in other words, we are posing a completely hypothetical question, which is not going to be translated.
Meenakshi wants to make a rejoinder before I take another question.
When Mr. Iyer says that what is so special about this Chief Minister, the special about this Chief Minister is this vilification campaign has not happened to anybody in this country. This vilification campaign, which is so unjustified and so out of proportion and incorrect, has not happened to any leader. When you talk about 1984 riots, they were not riots, that was genocide, and in which 3,500, only Sikhs died. Unlike Gujarat riots, where both Hindus and Muslims died and both suffered casualties. 3,500 Sikhs alone. And you remember the words of Rajiv Gandhi, बड़ा बरगद का पेड़ गिरता है तो बहुत कुछ हिलता है बहुत कुछ होता है. And allow me to complete, Mr. Iyer. I think we deserve that.
Continue.
And the second, again, spreading of myths and spreading of false facts. The statement of the Chief Minister on that particular day was, chain reaction. क्रिया और प्रतिक्रिया चल रही है और हम चाहते हैं ना क्रिया हो ना प्रतिक्रिया हो. To this, they talk about Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is a reaction. This is the manner in which vilification campaign has been carried out against one person. And in spite of that vilification campaign, people of Gujarat have repeatedly voted him. And this is the 5th time BJP has won. I think it calls for celebration.
I want the gentleman over there to ask the next question.
Ma'am, but in a way, aren't you justifying the riots in Godhra?
What's your question?
And moreover, my question is, we all are aware of the fact that Narendra Modi has had his first interaction with the young India here in SRCC. But it wasn't actually an interaction. He just delivered a speech, and he wasn't ready to answer the questions, and he made a setup that no person here ask a question. It was a part of the terms and condition. He accepted the invitation. So my question to you is, you're answering all the details which Mr. Modi should have been answered.
Why? Why?
No, but that's an important question. Why does Modi not take questions?
No,
is he so concerned about his actions?
Is Narendra Modi afraid to answer the same question?
No,
then why can't he?
Incorrect. More than once, and in fact, I'm carrying the data with me where I can show the pages of the newspaper. In fact, if you are aware, and I'm sure you are very well versed with the networks, etc., he's repeatedly interacting with the youngsters. He's repeatedly, there was something called Google Adda or something? Some such thing?
Google Hangout.
Interaction should be two-way. Rahul Gandhi goes to Kashmir. He speaks with the Kashmiris and they reflect back.
I'm
but
sorry,
here,
Rahul Gandhi,
1,800 people are here. 1,800 people are here.
I'm sorry,
Let's
Rahul
hear him,
Gandhi
then you
does not
respond.
even
Meenakshi,
deliver
let's hear him,
speeches
then you
without
respond.
papers. Forget about interactions.
1,800 people were here. So-called bright students in India.
Yeah.
The
I
number
think you
one
need to ask
college
your
in
principal
India.
that question.
But he wasn't able to, take questions from these smarter crowd. Why didn't he? An aspiring prime minister like Modi should be ready to answer these questions.
I'm sorry.
And moreover, we Indians, we Indians also expect an able administrator like Modi should answer these questions.
Okay, you made your point. Meenakshi Lekhi must answer.
I would tell you that he answers his questions more than anybody. And I think how the program was set up, I have no knowledge. I think you need to speak to your own principal for that matter. And so far as he's concerned, unlike anybody, any other politician, he's somebody who's constantly on the net. He understands on Facebook, on Twitter, counter questioning and hangout. nobody else. Tell me which other politician. And do you think when you talk about Rahul Gandhi, the gentleman does not even give speeches without a document, without a paper? So what are you
but
talking?
in that sense, Mr. Iyer, Narendra Modi has been setting the pace, others have been trying to ape him. The Congress studied very closely the model of electioneering in Gujarat, tried to see what model, which aspects they could copy. Even when it comes to the Google handout, being on Twitter, Narendra Modi sets the pace, then the Congress tries to copy him.
And Miss Sonia Gandhi, have you interacted with her ever? Have you interacted with the Prime Minister? Has he ever spoken to you? Or even anybody else for that matter?
Mr. Iyer, is Modi setting the pace, forcing others to follow? Just one second. Yes.
I just don't accept that at all. I don't think Modi is even setting the pace for his own party. If he were, and if he's as much of a hero as this hero worshipper thinks he is, then why is it that their own party is not ready to accept him? Is there anyone in the NDA who accepts him? However many Twitters he may send to Nitish Kumar, would Nitish Kumar agree to work under him? And as for students, Dr. Manmohan Singh is a teacher. He spent his entire life interacting with students.
Yeah.
He may not be a great orator, but he is somebody who provided the framework for the entire country, including one state called Gujarat, to be able to perform. And it is this dealing in lies, this announcement that you can't compare Hitler to Modi. Well, the Jews voted for Hitler. They didn't know what they were letting themselves in for. So it's entirely possible that before the Gujarat riots, they did. But I just do not think it is factually true that all the Muslims of Gujarat, or even a considerable number of them, really think that the ultimate savior is Mr. Narendra Modi, and that all that he was talking about was a chain reaction, and that is some newspaper distortion, that he didn't say action reaction.
Congress-sponsored distortion.
Okay, the gentleman over there wants to ask a question.
So my question is to you, sir.
To me?
Yes, it's rather simple. Has Rahul Gandhi done anything substantial till date?
Rahul Gandhi has done lots of things that are substantial in the areas in which he's chosen to work. He has deliberately decided that with his mother as the president of the party and with his mother's nominee as the Prime Minister of India, it is not within his jurisdiction to be public about policies because they are being implemented by his own party. But within the area of work that he chose for himself, I'd like to stress two things. Number one, it is revolutionary for the Congress party to have an elected cadre of office bearers in the Student Congress, which is called the NSUI, and in the Youth Congress. It's totally revolutionary. And he's done this right across the country in every state, and many states have started the second round. And I am personally involved with something called the Rajiv Gandhi Panchayat Raj Sangathan, which is a wing of the Congress party. And we have started, at his advice and at his instance, elections in exactly the same manner there. And I suspect that if we are able to carry this into the party, the kind of democratization that will take place there would be pretty unprecedented in the last 60 years of the Congress party. That's number one. In respect of what the policies are, I did try to tell you earlier that these people are in a very awkward position. If they start speaking publicly about policies, either they'll be parroting what the government is saying, or they'll be saying things where even if one comma or semicolon is different, you'll get a big blazing headline saying party government differences. So they have to be extremely discreet. But the fact that he has not pronounced himself on policy matters does not mean that he does not, behind closed doors, express his views. And every now and then it comes out.
Meenakshi, do you buy that the fact that he doesn't voice an argument doesn't mean he doesn't have an opinion? It's just that he doesn't want to complicate things for the Prime Minister by voicing his opinions in public.
Does he come across as someone who can voice his opinion or who has any opinion? I mean, I'll ask these questions. Tell me. Do you think, no, I won't ask you because you are as much an obsequious person as you told me to be a hero worshipper of Modi. So a person who's lived a life of obsequity should not discuss this. I think we can ask these people, do you think Rahul Gandhi comes across as a person who can speak on policies? How many voices?
Right.
That's it. I think I made my point.
If I had come here in 1966, I think we'd have got the same answer about Indira Gandhi. If I had come here in 1983, I think we'd have got the same answer about Rajiv Gandhi. And if I had come here in 1998, I'd have got the same answer about Sonia Gandhi. Now, merely because I've given you the examples of people who had, because of their compulsions to keep their opinions to themselves, shown after they came to office that they had opinions and that they had very valid opinions and could in fact in many ways shake up the system. So this sneering opinion that Meenakshi has and which is shared by her colleagues, that everything about Modi is so wonderful, what a lovely chap, he's loved by the Muslims.
I know.
And that Rahul Gandhi, he's an idiot, he knows nothing.
Why
can you not be decent in your attitude?
I think
if you do love Modi, how can you be decent?
Okay. I know if Mr. Iyer is going to speak about decency, whose language is vile, I think he's giving a certificate to himself more than me. And
the first time the BJP is called decent.
Oh, that's exactly my point, Mr. Iyer. If you don't understand sarcasm, I think you need to go back to college.
Meenakshi Lekhi from the BJP. I want the gentleman in the green sweatshirt to ask the first question. Please go ahead.
Sir, Modi comes from a humble background while Rahul Gandhi is a royal prince. So isn't Modi one of us and hence is a better representative? And also, why is it that Gandhi's equals Congress and Congress equals Gandhi's? Isn't there any other capable leaders in the Congress who can stand up for the PM? Other than Mr. Manmohan Singh, who we all know.
Yes, Mr. Iyer.
I'm not sure that I come from anywhere where anybody like Modi is like us. I am definitely not from that kind of a background. I do not have communal attitudes. I believe in an India in which everybody has the dignity to be. I reject the philosophy of Hindutva.
No, but you must understand the question and where it comes from, Mr. Iyer. He's saying that Modi comes from a humble background while Rahul Gandhi is a man of privilege. He comes from a very well-to-do family. He's got blue blood in him, whereas Modi is from an absolutely humble background, and he shows that if you work hard,
well, for a man from a
then
very
you can
humble
reach
for a
the
man
topmost position in the country, or at least aspire to reach the top position.
For a man who's from an allegedly humble background is an extraordinarily arrogant person. The fact of the matter is, I'm not concerned with the background. I'm concerned with what they wish to do with power. It is a fact that Jawaharlal Nehru came from an exceptionally privileged background. That Mahatma Gandhi was the son of the Wazir, of the Prime Minister of Porbandar. That Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was not some tuppenny guy. The fact of which is the background from which they came does not determine what they do once they come to power. I am concerned with what he will do when he comes to power. If he is true to what he has been saying, to what he belongs to, then we are going to have an extremely divisive India, especially in the most important element that keeps our country together, which is that everyone who's an Indian is made to believe that he belongs to this country. I don't see that happening with a Hindutva philosophy.
Meenakshi.
You see, a party like Congress, which has won elections on the right issues, a party like Congress, which deals with Naxals when it comes to having ties in Andhra Pradesh to get TDP off, party like Congress in whose ages maximum number of riots, including Bhagalpur, I can just go on, and especially Gujarat, every year it had a history of riot till 2002, and who was in power before BJP came to power? That was Congress. So maximum number of riots. Shah Bano case, which divided the country, which never brought Muslims to the forefront. A case like Shah Bano and Rajiv Gandhi was the first one to lay down the foundation stone of Ram Janmabhoomi. So when these people talk about communalism or talk about secularism, I think we need to redo the definition itself. Secular does not mean being anti-Hindu. Secular means everyone having the right to progress equally, and secularism does not mean that before UP election, some minister will get up and say, we are going to give reservation in the name of religion. I think secularism needs to be redefined and everyone can go ahead and work, not the manner in which Congress has chosen to play polity so far as now is concerned, till date is concerned. And when Mr. Iyer said that in 1966, had Indira Gandhi come to power, and probably everyone here would have had the same opinion, or before Rajiv Gandhi, or before Jawaharlal Nehru. So it proves the credentials of Rahul Gandhi. I have only one suggestion to make, that this is aspirational India. Probably this India which has seen money, this India which wants to aspire, which wants to go high, this India which wants to progress, all of them would have lost elections, unlike
But Mr.
anybody
Iyer,
else.
you make the case that Rahul Gandhi doesn't need to have administrative experience to be a good prime minister, but you know fully well that a lot of the mistakes that Rajiv Gandhi made were made because while his intentions were good, he simply didn't have administrative acumen, and therefore he ended up making a lot of mistakes which he wouldn't have made if he had some experience. Shouldn't Rahul Gandhi have prepared himself better for the top job by actually cutting his teeth in government?
I don't think the job of a prime minister is to do what his secretary could do. The job of a prime minister is to provide a vision, is to provide a direction, is to take the country in some new direction. And all these people that I have been mentioning, these prime ministers, have had a vision. I'm absolutely sure that Mr. Modi has a vision, but it's a vision that gives me a nightmare. He has got if in fact we are so communal and they are so secular, why is it that the minorities of India shy away from them? And that those parties that are not the Congress parties, but who have a good relationship with our minorities, say that we don't wish to be stained with the blood of the BJP. The fact of the matter is that they cannot help but be communal, because at the fundamental base of their philosophy is what Savarkar and Golwalkar and others did: create a Hindutva which is a mirror image of the kind of language that Muhammad Ali Jinnah was using. And that is why I just do not trust them. I do not trust them because when they come to power, except for one man, and that was Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Now, alas, he has gone. And if we have to have a BJP Prime Minister, I'd much rather it be an ex-alumnus of Sri Ram College of Commerce.
Meenakshi wants to come in, make a point before I take some more questions.
I don't think I have any problems with ex-alumnus or anybody else being, but today we are debating Modi, so I'll restrict my response to that. And when Mr. Iyer talks about all other parties, now which are those parties and what basis do they have in polity? The base of those the base of their vote bank is caste, religion. Now, definitely, they can't play the politics of unification, because this is how they have remained in power. They have remained in power by dividing society, and by dividing society into subcaste and caste, Mahadalit, Dalit, to so on and so forth. How can they work with somebody who talks about unified India, a program of development, a program of progress for everyone? Saunu Saath, Saunu Vikas, everyone together and everyone progress. That is the message which Narendra Modi carries with
The gentleman in the yellow shirt and the blue blazer.
Ma'am, don't you think that Mr. Modi is more confident when he's making a speech? Ma'am, given the fact that he's addressing a crowd without he's making an extempo. But while we compare Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who has to carry a proper document in order to address. So this speaks about the confidence of a person when he's addressing such a crowd. So,
no, it talks about a person who has actually worked very hard in his life. It talks about a person who's not born to be a PM. It talks about a person who has worked to become the PM or CM or whatever he has reached. And it talks about a person who does not call hostel a residence. It talks about a person, the third gentleman who's having the mic right now. In the break, he was the first one to tell that he was called to this college to give the memorial lecture today. He was not here to interact with the students. So actually an incorrect fact is being spoken about. And I think I'll go back to him. What was the statement that you were making?
So, ma'am, my statement
Only
was
for record.
Ma'am, my statement was the fact that my friend incorrectly pointed out that Narendra Modi, in fact, didn't take part in an interactive session. But it is a fact that he was invited by the college not to take part in an interactive session. He was asked by the college to deliver the oration, in fact, in memory of our founder. This is the fact. And my question to Mr. Manishankar Iyer is that when you have leaders, young leaders like Jyotiraditya Scindia, who has held a position of responsibility, means why isn't he projected as a PM or means anything, means in more he surely deserves much more than Rahul Gandhi, I feel. And my second question is that, and my second question is the fact that why does Rahul Gandhi, in being a young Indian, you can call him a young Indian at the age of 40, why does he fail to take
Go on, let him finish his point.
why does he fail to take a stand in cases when it affects in young India? For example, he didn't make a statement for a long duration. In case of the 23-year, the gang rape which happened in Delhi, means it was a long duration. We expected a response from a young Indian who is in such a powerful position.
Okay,
I would like Mr. Manishankar Iyer to answer that.
I have to repeat what I've said already, that we have a government which is ours. We have a Congress president who happens to be his mother. And he happens to have decided to carve out an area of work for himself. And when he was given a political challenge, I think you need to recognize this. Instead of going to some state where it would be easy for him to work and win, for example, to go to Rajasthan or go to Haryana, where there's a Congress government in power which can hold his hand, he chose to earn his spurs in a state which has been out of our hands for 20 years. He did somewhat well in one election, he did very badly in another election. But this to me is the sign of a person with political courage, willing to take up the challenge and not to duck it. Now, as regards interactive sessions, I don't know him very well, and since I'm not a youth by any means, I'm not quibbling whether I'm 40 or 42, I'm 72. I haven't got much interaction with him, but on the few occasions that I've been there, his whole style, Rahul's, appears to be totally interactive. He spends a lot of time listening and some time interacting and rarely lecturing. And that is why I was quite stunned. Stunned is the only word I can use to hear him that day in Jaipur.
No, but you must answer the question that that kid asked. He says, why is it that Rahul Gandhi needs to read off a prepared text? We don't know who wrote that speech.
I mean,
he didn't speak extempore. He had a sheet in front of him. He was reading every word from that sheet.
I was sitting there in the audience, and if he is capable, if Rahul is capable of writing the speech that he wrote and then delivering from a written text, well, hurrah to him. It was a speech designed for the audience. It moved the audience. We laughed with him. He mocked us. He scolded us. He also encouraged us. He went into a mode of suggesting something very personal to him. When he talked about those two guards with whom he used to play badminton and then discovered they'd killed his mother, you think anybody can write that? That comes straight out of the heart. Yes, he had a text. I didn't see him reading it. Every now and then he may be looking at it. And what's wrong with reading? Dr. Manmohan Singh always reads. Vajpayee ji always spoke. What happened to him? Got trammed. He talked about shining India. And we said nothing to it. We don't want this shining India. We don't want this India to shine. Why on earth has the Congress party ruled this country for the last 40 years? It is full of such incompetence. And why is it that they had to first do Vajpayee Mark 1, then Vajpayee Mark 2, and then get to Vajpayee Mark 3, and after a single term, jao tum, ghar jao, and we want the Congress back, and they brought us back. So, again and again, the people of India have shown that they are not going to decide whom to vote for as to whether he has a piece of paper in front of him, or whether he can tell his lies extempore and put it on a hologram and all this kind of gimmicky business. I do not think these are the factors that determine leadership. We are not going to have a battle between Modi and Rahul Gandhi. We are going to have a battle in which the NDA, which has lost most of its partners, is going to be pitted against a UPA, which has kept most of its partners. But a very large number of seats is going to people whom Meenakshi was denigrating a few minutes ago.
Okay, let's
It's
take a
going
question.
to go.
It's
going to go in the
I want to take some more
Absolutely.
questions.
To a large
Let me
number of
You want to
states.
respond, you have the
I
right to
just
respond.
want to
Please go ahead,
respond.
quickly.
You see, when you are in power, the power perpetuates power, and we have seen how CBI is used to keep the allies together. We've seen in case of SP, we've seen in case of BSP, and we have seen how this country has been run, and we have seen the number of scams which have come out. We've also seen the choices which people have made, and the choices which have led to where we are, and the choices which need to improve, and the choices which need to change. And the aspirational India needs better governance than the governance we've had. This country is a rich country full of resources, and yet we are a poor country. I think we all need to have a rethinking on those issues.
Okay, the gentleman over there.
Sir, my question is to you. Sir, during the UP elections, Rahul Gandhi was leading Congress in UP.
Yeah.
And sir, Congress got such a bad response in UP. And don't you think that Rahul Gandhi has lost the public confidence after that? And like you said that, like, despite the fact that in UP Congress has never been such a strong political party, but Rahul Gandhi, whom some suggest that he's a young leader and he can take India into a new direction, that when he went to a state where Congress has no political background as such, no stronghold, and still he wasn't able to make a change. So I don't think he'll be able to make a change in India.
He also went to Bihar, which has also been out of the hands of the Congress for 20 years. He is not choosing the easy option. When it came to having elections for the Youth Congress, he chose a state like Tamil Nadu, where we haven't been in power for 45 years. He is facing up to the challenges, not taking the easy way out. And the decision as to who is going to lead our party will be taken by ourselves, and we will live with those consequences. For all that Meenakshi has said in denigratory terms about the leaders of the Congress party, the fact of the matter is that the leaders whom we chose to lead us are the ones who have succeeded in delivering the country to the Congress or the Congress and its allies for something like 45 or 50 years of the last 60 years. We know what we are doing.
Okay.
And therefore, we choose our leaders who take us to victory.
I want to take a question from the gentleman holding the mic right.
So we always talk about the developments and the gains made by Mr. Modi in Gujarat. We never talk about the Godhra riots and the killings done in the Godhra riots. So
no, I think you need to understand what's happening here. We are not talking about Assam riots, which are as late as couple of months ago. We are not discussing all the riots which have happened between 2002 and till date. We are not even discussing all the riots which have happened prior to 2002, even in Gujarat. And that is what I call sinister manipulation. And sinister manipulation of a system which is feeding certain information and on purpose. And that is what makes Modi great, because in spite of these kind of services, he still managed to contain his vote. And when you discuss Godhra, everyone forgets what perked Godhra, what happened in Godhra, and that was 58 bodies of Hindus who were burnt alive in a train. And at that time, there was Operation Parakaram, and all Congress leaders were involved in those 58 bodies burning. And those were people who were office bearers of Congress party, and I can name them.
I want to take a question from the gentleman over there, please.
My question is for sir. Sir, don't you think that Rahul Gandhi is extremely personal, reserved? We call him Democrat in weekdays and Prince over weekends, because he goes on holidays to Europe, and I think he's really reserved. Don't you think he needs to be a little bit more open?
He's not a 24/7 politician. A Democrat by the weekdays, a prince by the weekends.
You were stern, but I don't think we were. He hasn't shown anything.
I greatly mistrust a unidimensional human being. In the midst of all his preoccupations, Jawaharlal Nehru was interested in M.S. Subbulakshmi's music. Jawaharlal Nehru was the one who built up tribal dances and tribal music here in Delhi. You have to have people. Indira Gandhi's knowledge of handlooms, Indira Gandhi's knowledge of our heritage, all these show that you require a multi-dimensional human beings to be able to connect. And therefore, I am very glad, I don't know really because I'm not so close to him, but I am really very glad if it's true that Rahul Gandhi is not 24/7 a politician. But this I know, that on any given day when I have happened to see him, The program is jammed. It's just jammed with both constructive work as well as interactive work. If he was at such disconnect with the party, why is it that there is such enthusiasm?
Okay, quick final comments from Meenakshi Lekhi before we wrap up this program.
You see, my entire focus, because when I think the gentleman here said about how old or something like that about Rahul Gandhi. So I wanted to say that I am a 45-year-old woman, just about 2 years or 3 years older than the gentleman we've been talking about. And I consider myself a middle-aged person because my son would be as old as you people. And first year of law, and the other one who's giving class 12 exams. So when a person like me is standing here before youngsters who are my children's age, and Mr. Iyer during the break and earlier was talking about some child who had debated in one of the debates he has attended, I would prefer Rahul Gandhi to at least come and debate with my children.
Okay.
Forget me.
So I end this program in the hope that one day, in the same manner as which Mr. Iyer and Meenakshi Lekhi consented to be a part of this town hall interaction with students at the SRCC, we too could have an American presidential style debate with Rahul Gandhi on the one side and Narendra Modi on the other. Who can steer India better, Rahul or Modi? It's a question each one needs to reflect on, needs to debate. It's a question which is central to Indian politics for the next several months. We don't want to weigh in one way or the other. You've heard two articulate voices from the Congress and the BJP. We've had some very sharp, very piercing questions from this young concerned citizens, this young audience that we've got at SRCC. They've heard Modi. Hopefully Rahul too would do a similar session, invite the media, allow young India to hear what he has to say, and also maybe take some questions. In that hope, I end this program. Thank you all very much for joining us for this special interaction. Thank you, Meenakshi. Thank you, Mr. Iyer.